Joining me here today at IoT World is Greg Jones, Chief Technology Officer of Kajeet. Welcome here.
Thank you, Chuck. It's a pleasure to be here, and as a fellow futurist, I love talking about all the propeller head things. So thanks for having me. Right.
So the IT world today is pretty complex. Can you give us your view of what it looks like?
Yeah, the complexity of the IoT world today is based in the proliferation of many types of devices, right? So you have devices that might be low utilization, sending a chirp, hey, I'm a sensor. It might be something that is taking video and doing something as advanced as facial recognition. It's just all over the place, and so all the different types of devices and all the connectivity methods, whether it's Wi-Fi or over LoRa. WAN, whether it's through LTE, et cetera, it's really daunting because companies have a hard time, mastering all of those things, from securing the devices, getting them provisioned, putting it all together, and figuring out how to make it work for their business.
So did companies see this coming, or all of a sudden one day they're like, uh-oh, this is out of control?
Yeah, I think companies have seen it as an advantage, right? In the beginning, they thought, yeah, we can take advantage of this one piece here, and then they found that it's become much more complex than they anticipated. So as each company leapfrogs the next, the stakes get higher.
So how do they keep up?
So that's a great question. One of the ways to keep up is partnering with somebody like Kajeet, right? Because we were out there looking at all the different types of devices, all the ways to connect them, how to secure them, how to put policy controls and do intelligence on those devices. It's very difficult for a company to kind of attack that. Think of like a patient in a that needs health care. There are hospitals, and there's doctors, and there's nurses, and there's labs, and there's so many different things, and you can't just go and get it all in one place. And that's kind of what the IoT market is like. There's just so much varied need, and so putting it all together into one simple solution is really challenging.
So when you go into a company, do they actually know what they have?
In some cases, yes. In some cases, they're saying, we have a use case that we would like to use IoT for. In some cases, we go in and we talk to them about what that use case is, and they find that that use case is actually not what they really want, and they evolve it into something else and say, well, we didn't even know we could do that. Wow, okay, let's go that route instead. So we've found plenty of customers that, through discussions with them, have realized that there's an opportunity they didn't even realize existed.
So once you go in and basically connect the devices, what happens when the next wave of devices come in?
That's a great question. So one of the things that we do is we work very closely with a lot of equipment manufacturers, right? So we're always keeping up with whatever the device capabilities are, whether it's a sensor, whether it's a hotspot, whether it's an embedded laptop, et cetera. And through our partnerships with a lot of these manufacturers and supply chain companies, we're able to kind of bring to them, hey, did you know that you can get higher bandwidth? Did you know that you can have an extended antenna? Did you know that you can get this with these new devices that are coming out? So we kind of help and lead and guide them with not having to necessarily know the device market, because we kind of bring that to the table.
So who in the enterprise is dealing with this? Is it an IT department? Do you go to a CTO? Does the CFO? Where does this fall?
Yeah, again, so it depends on the type of enterprise. Some of them are using IoT to bring in new customers. Some of them are using it to optimize their business. We have customers, for instance, that are monitoring temperatures in their chicken coops because they're selling to Purdue and they want to have as many eggs as possible, right? So it could be a sensor like that, where we would be dealing with technologists within their company. And then there are others that are looking to go and sell. So for instance, we do connectivity for some electric vehicle charging companies, and they want to make sure that their product is working and is operating at full capacity, because they don't make revenue if it doesn't. And so we're dealing there with product people and folks that are really in charge of revenue.
So are you seeing any market segments that are ahead of others, or by vertical industry, that are behind others, or are they all sort of in the same boat?
Yeah, I would say that that in most cases in the past, you've always seen healthcare kind of lag in technology, and financial sector and telecom, et cetera, really kind of push the limits, and then healthcare kind of lags behind. But especially with the pandemic, and so many other things happening in medical advancements, healthcare has actually become a really big kind of leader in IoT devices, from remote monitoring to telehealth, et cetera. So surprisingly, I see them as being one of the biggest markets right now.
Interesting twist. So where do you see Kajeet going in the future?
So today we serve quite a few different industries. We've really focused heavily on education. So a lot of people that hear our brand know about us as an education company. We served over, I want to say, 500,000 students during the pandemic to be able to have remote connections so that they could do school from home. And then we kind of grew that into other industries like healthcare, transportation, your remote monitoring, things like that. And so we continue to expand into different segments. I think it's important for us as a company to be really knowledgeable and deep in those industries as we go in, so that we really are able to provide more value to them, instead of just saying, hey, we're going to connect you to a device. We need to understand what their use cases are and how to best optimize their business, and that includes everything from analytics to a full, solution, soup to nuts, from device acquisition all the way through security and intelligence on the device.
So we're sitting here a year from now, the next IoT World, at the end of the next year. What will we be talking about?
I think next year we'll probably be talking about the prevalence of 5G and it bringing a lot more devices into the ecosystem, because now things that you couldn't do before because there wasn't bandwidth now are going to be available. A lot more video and monitoring that today over a lot of these devices is just not there. Edge computing, I think, is going to be huge because those devices will be able to do a lot more, and so telematics also, and being able to pull lots of information off the devices and make better decisions on those devices, and kind of the machine learning and artificial intelligence.
Well, I look forward to catching up next year. Thank you so much, Greg.
You're welcome. Thank you.